So why do you think basketballers and netballers do so many more ankles than, say, soccer and football players?
I think there's lots of reasons. Firstly, shout out to Dr. Galen Mackay. Okay. Most of what I know about ankle rolls, a large proportion comes from talking to Gay. Gay has a PhD in rolled ankles, and I've sat on the bench with her. She was at Alphington Sports Medicine, and he's our physio at the Deakin North University. And so Gay knows everything there's to know about rolled ankles. She knows it's. I picked her brain, so I want to be clear that some of this is not my.
Yeah, all the stuff I've read's been hers as well.
Yeah. And I mean, what's interesting is the single biggest predictor for a rolled ankle is a previously rolled ankle. You roll it once, you damage the ligaments, nerves, structures, perineals. You get basically a slack, unco, weak ankle that you're now more likely to re-roll. The second biggest predictor is visible Nike Air in the shoe.
Air bubbles in the shoe.
Yeah, and so number one is that the soccer players aren't running around with a Duradisc built into their heel. So they have, because it's an inherently unstable, a pocket of air in your heel is a terrible idea if that pocket can move around.
Explain how it works, because you explained it so nicely about how that cushion.
So, I wish we had a pair in here.
None of us have any.
So, if you have a pocket of air in the rear of the shoe, and if you're landing a little bit on this side of it, the air is going to compress on this side and push across to the other side. So you're actually actively making it into a sort of a device, like an ankle rolling enhancement device.
Yeah, so as you land poorly, the air scrooches that way and gives you more exaggeration to that roll.
Helps flip you into that roll.
Pushes you further into inversion,
Yeah. So I don't let anyone I'm always very strict with our athletes, don't play invisible Nike. If you want to go to the movies in it, sure, but that's about the extent. And I mean, there's been examples of players who fronted up to Opal's camps. There's one classic who I won't name from a long time ago, who was not allowed to train and was sent off to a shopping centre to go buy. She had a pair of Nike Tailwinds on. And the physio and the head coach were like, you got to go buy a pair of actual stable shoes. So I think there's that problem. And then I think the other big issue is that most of the time when someone rolls an ankle, it's because they land on someone's shoe. And I think that's because you're rebounding, you're looking up, you're in a very compact space. There's just a lot of there's a lot of potential shoes you can land on.
Yeah, basketball and netball, it's a much significantly smaller court and it's a lot more vertical, so you can spend a lot more time, whereas to soccer and foot, it's straight line, it's cutting, it's change direction. Even though it's still stressing the ankle, there's none of that potential to land, significantly less chance to land on someone's foot wrong.
Yeah. So I think that's a big rock that's different.
So it's just the sports are set up different. The grip in the court, I think is a big thing. Whereas with grass, even though you're in cleats or a mould, you get a bit of grip on it if you hit it. Whereas with court, if you cut and your foot's slightly internally rotated and you hit that spot wrong, it's kind of like you're ready to just explode into it. Same with knees and ACLs.
Yeah, and as we talk about it also, I think the benefit of real grass, not fake grass, but a normal field, is that it's not dead level. So you're actually a soccer player, a footy player, a rugby player. They are actively working on their proprio in a very subtle way constantly, because you're midfoot striking in the boots, and it's not a dead level surface. So your perineals are having to work so they have kind of background strength through their perineal muscles, background proprioception.
Yeah. So their feed forward mechanism through the perineum is much better. Whereas a basketball, because they're big bulky shoes with this cushioning, they're landing on their heels, they've got braces on, they don't have that, their perineals are just blinded, they've got blinkers on. And so every time they hit the ground, their perineals are like, oh, there it is, and it's just too late. Whereas with the football players, there's significantly less stuff around the ankle that's exposed. Landing on their midfoot, they're on a surface that changes every now and again, and so they're hitting the ground going, that perineal's ready before they hit the ground, so it's more active, more awake.
And on top of that, you can get away with, it's a horrible thing to see, but you can get away with being a heel striker in basketball. It's 16 metres foul line to foul line. You can have people run with this ugly heel strike where they're getting no stability through the midfoot and no perineal engagement.
Whereas slapping the ground with their feet.
Yeah, whereas in footy, the distances, and in field sports in general, the distances are longer, So you're more likely to be weeded out of the sport because you'll be so
Yeah.
slow.
You'll be exposed by your heel strike faster. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you'll either fix the heel strike or you won't be in the sport in a position to be rolling your ankle.
Because you're never at the contest.
And also, if you're heel striking in a shoe without any cushioning and you continue that, you'll have knee injuries.
Shin splints, lower back pain, the whole lot.
Yeah. So I think there's a bunch of factors. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I feel like the takeaway is we're not going to prevent all the rolled ankles, but there's a big section of them that I think you can prevent. Like you've been talking about, you're playing, you've been feeling really
Yes.
stable. Like you feel like you nearly rolled your ankle, but you didn't.
Yes, I've just returned to basketball, just domestic stuff. My biggest injury is not a big injury. It's just a little one that keeps me out of a week of work, and so I can't coach for a week. And so I'm just terrified of tweaking my ankle.
Yeah.
And so I don't play in braces because I don't like the feel. It's a whole other thing though. But what I do before each game is I do agility hops, a few arabesques, and a couple of like just single leg landings just to get that stability. First game back, playing alright. First half was before my fitness let me down. Went up for a rebound, came down and just just caught the edge of a foot, like just caught the couple of toes as I landed. And my ankle went to start rolling and quickly picked it straight back up. And I reckon that the fact that my perineals and everything were working up by the agility hops and the arabesques meant that I wasn't going all the way into that roll.
Yeah,
and so I'd woken them up enough. And even though I was in a basketball shoe, it was a bit more built than a footy boot, I was able to react quickly.
Yeah.
And so instead of going into a grade 1 or a grade 2 tear, I just went into, that's a little tender, but was able to play on and had no problems the next day.
And so it's that intelligent reaction to a compromised position. So a dumb ankle lands on someone's shoe, like it lands and it's like everything's fine, crack.
Yeah.
A smart, strong ankle goes, oh, there's a problem, and it senses it and reacts.
Jerk and lifts back up quickly.
I
Off the ground, yeah.
I mean, it's interesting with my work and now our work in the WNBL. So 11 seasons of professional basketball. I think we've had Tess rolled her ankle badly last season and had some bone bruising. So she missed a bunch of games. Apart from her, I think we've had maybe one game in the other 10 years.
Wow.
Missed to a rolled ankle. So touch wood. But I think the warm-up stuff that we do, switching on the proprio, is clearly helpful with that. And also the girls strap and, they're very good at all that stuff. But
great physio and all that.
yeah, like the whole...
Everything combines together.
Yeah. But I'm suspicious that that's also giving that same benefit you've noticed is probably what we're getting, because every game we're making sure we do that properly and switching it.
Arabesques, agility hops, landing. I think the beautiful thing is not just the acute effects, but the cumulative. Doing it every single week, it just adds up and adds up and adds up.
Better. Yeah. And the reverse is when you look at, take a team of 15-year-olds that aren't doing that stuff, and we see that all the time, and you tell them stand on one leg. They can't stand statically.
Yeah.
You've given them one task, stand on one leg while you're fresh as a daisy, and don't fall over, and they can't because they've just got no strength or stability through there. So it's a low base the average junior's working off in terms of single leg stability.
Yeah.
Yeah.